Tonight, after U.S. and global markets had a rocky ride, jitters mounting over Chief Economic Advisor Gary Cohn's resignation.
Well, I'm concerned that who the president will turn to for advice.
One of the problems here is the White House is getting hollowed out.
The White House trying to downplay the volatility.
Isn't the message from the markets, though, that they're concerned about Gary Cohn's departure?
I think if you look at the overall message of the markets, it's that we're doing much better under President Trump than we were doing before he took office.
Cohn is the latest member of the president's inner circle to head for the door. In all, 43% of top-level positions have left the Trump White House, a higher turnover than Trump's four most recent predecessors each had in their first 2 years. Today, Sarah Sanders denying this White House is in chaos.
If it was, then I don't think we would be able to accomplish everything that we've done.
But even the president acknowledged this week.
I like conflict.
Cohn's departure was prompted by his opposition to the president's threat of new tariffs on steel and aluminum. Many Republicans and foreign allies have warned that could spark a trade war. Now, under pressure, the White House is signaling some countries, including Mexico and Canada, could be exempt.
We're not trying to blow up the world.
Former White House Chief of Staff Leon Panetta.
When there is chaos and disruption in Washington, it is ultimately going to affect the way you make your living wherever you're living in this country. And that's what scares the hell out of people.
The president could announce those new tariffs as early as tomorrow. Tonight, 107 House Republicans have written a letter to President Trump urging him to target so-called bad actors like China and to exempt U.S. allies.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.